And we're live once again on another Tuesday, and I have a special guest in the house who's not in her house. She's on vacation. So she's coming to us from a Swiss chalet. How cool is this? So now please introduce yourself. Just
Okay,
for
first,
anyone who does not know you, please give a quick introduction.
would love to. First of all, Gillian, thank you so much for having me here. I'm a career strategist, which sounds like a very fancy way of saying I help people find the job they absolutely love, get the promotion they deserve, and lead a richer, happier, and more purposeful life. And I've been in the HR recruitment space for about 18, 20 years now. And I'm very lucky to do what I love.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And you have your own live. So in the intro promo for the post, I talked about you do your LinkedIn live every Friday. You also have a podcast. You also have a YouTube channel. You're just like so known in your space. One of the top was it top 25 career I should have my notes, but
Yeah, it's there's something called Job Scan, which is a site particularly targeting job seekers, and they come up with a list every year, and I've been following that list for years. So this was very surreal for me. And they announced it in February. Yeah, huge honor.
huge, huge, huge. And then the biggest huge thing, which I actually ran out of characters in my post and I had to delete it and I wanted to put it back in, is I was scrolling through LinkedIn Live, the LinkedIn news feed, and I saw you in the LinkedIn news and you were being interviewed in the LinkedIn news. And I was just like, oh my gosh.
That's a big
So,
deal.
how did that come about?
That's a big deal, Jillian. That's something I'm actually very emotional about because um, here I'm far away in Europe, and I'm originally from India. People I see in the career space who do really, really well and their voice is always heard are people who are sitting in North America.
Mm,
So, for the longest time, and it's our topic is perfect, stepping into the spotlight. For the longest time, I've had this feeling that I don't really belong in this space because I don't look like them, I don't talk like them. I know that
mm,
sounds crazy, but our mind is very powerful. And
mhm.
the negative side, I would say the dark side is very powerful. So I gave up on it for a pretty long time. And then, yeah, thank goodness, the other side of the brain decided to speak up a little bit more and decided to show up on a regular basis. And whether it's live streaming, podcasting is a lot more recent. Um, After a while, I guess, you just gotta show up till you blow up, whatever they say, or you just got to get good at your game, so much so that you can't be ignored. So when the editor
Mm.
of LinkedIn News reached out, I was like, let's do this. Like, I am so not going to screw this up. Like, let's do this.
And you were a pro. You were a pro. I watched that. You were absolutely phenomenal. And it was a toughy subject because you were talking about negotiating salaries, and that's a hard thing to talk about on a good day, let alone thrown into the spotlight for what 100,000, if not more people were watching
Yeah.
that and seeing that.
Yeah.
Like it's probably more as time goes on because that's stuff you can go back and watch again anytime on the replay too, right?
No, that's true. That's very true. And it's funny because I've not necessarily been the person who's been most comfortable with negotiating for myself, but I've learned the hard way. And it's now something I love. And it's something people associate when it comes to salary negotiation, because that is the one video that went crazy viral on a dead, let me tell you, dead YouTube channel. So it's like, oh, okay, this is interesting. And it's tricky because, Jillian, it's so culturally different, right? How you
Mhm.
negotiate, how do you talk about money, it's so different. It depends where you sit, and it also depends on your personality. And I was like, okay, let's take the commonalities and all of that, and there's some things that are universal, and package it and see if this can help people. And oh my gosh, that's helped so many people. And it's like, okay, mission accomplished.
Yep, yep. Well, I would think that salary negotiations, for a business owner, it's your pricing of your services. We're all negotiating price somewhere along the line. And I
Correct.
think that that's probably the biggest thing where people go, is it just me? is it
No.
just me that has a hard time talking the money bit?
Yep.
And I think doesn't matter whether you're looking for a job or you're just selling your services, selling your products. It's very hard to get your self-worth out of it. And I think it's a button for many
It's a
people.
hot button, and it's so interesting because that particular video on YouTube has done so well. It's got over 2,000 comments. I don't know if people realize it, but when you comment on somebody's YouTube video, that person sees the comments. Like, I read every single comment. I've
Me
got
too.
some hate for it. I've got some, hey, thank you so much. This really worked. I, negotiated like crazy. I've never done it before. And then I get complaints like, why does it have to be so complicated? Why are you HR people so irritating? Like, just give us, make it transparent. I'm like, you can either complain and talk about how it should be, or you can play the game and do something about it.
Mhm. Yep. You're part of the problem or part of the solution, right?
That's it.
And actually, I think that's kind of a cool thing about YouTube comments, and of course LinkedIn comments as well, is you can get ideas of what other content people are looking for by reading the comments. So the comments they're always gold. They're always
They're
gold.
always
You do
called.
learn stuff.
Exactly.
Yep, yep. So, okay. So, we'll go to comments in a second. I just want to
Yeah,
ask
I
you.
just want to
Mhm.
check, I guess, Jillian, if nobody says anything, I'm guessing everybody can hear and see me properly because I don't have probably the best Wi-Fi, but
Well,
if it's good, it's good.
okay, so we'll ask Jeff because we can always count on Jeff. Do you
Yes.
see both of us? Are we coming in clear, loud and clear? Can you just type yes, just so that we know the picture's coming through? Because we just want to make sure that the connection's good. So let's see. We've got, I'm impressed. You carry your microphone with you. So obviously you can be heard. So you got your mic.
No, yeah, that's true. That's true. Jeff, that's a great point. Today's Tuesday and I have a 10-day break, and today's the only day I was going to do some minimal work, and I was recording a podcast episode with someone a little bit famous, but she ended up canceling. So
Mm,
doesn't matter. But
okay.
I wanted to make sure, even if I'm on holiday, this is the only date she can give me. I don't want to have crappy sound because I'm on holiday. Pack it up in a suitcase. It's so easy.
Not a big deal. Not a
Not a
big
big deal.
deal. Yep, yep. So we got the yep, we you can be seen. So we're
Okay.
good. And here we got somebody coming in from Delhi. So that's awesome. That's awesome.
Okay.
So we're pulling them in globally, which means it's very late there. So
Yes.
it's a
Yes.
bedtime podcast, a bedtime
Good
LinkedIn
evening. Good
live,
evening, Saeed. Yes.
which is kind of fun because for
Yes.
here I'm in Las Vegas, so it's 10 a.m. in the morning. So it's just amazing when we were talking about this a second ago that you really can't get a good time that's going to suit everybody. So we're all kind of, for some people it's the middle of the night. They're not catching us, I think, in New Zealand and Australia right now.
You can't,
But
yeah, there's no way. There's no way we can just go around and do it.
no way at all. No way at all. So, okay. So here's the question that I want to ask. I want to ask, okay, you got the LinkedIn Live, you got the YouTube, and you got the podcast. So which came first? Which one did you do first? Because all three are probably great. Plus, you are very active on LinkedIn. So it's not like you just post and ghost. You post, you talk. You're also on Clubhouse. So that's 4 channels that you're doing stuff. So which came first? Just for people who are starting out, I think this is really helpful. So whether you're looking for a job, whether you have a business, being
Yeah,
visible is key.
it is key. And we'll talk about visibility in a second because it's not something that comes naturally to anyone from the get-go.
Mm,
YouTube came first, Jillian. This was September 2018, so it's going to be 3 years.
mm,
And I pumped out a bunch of videos for a few months, and I got very discouraged because I
mm,
did not get the traction that I hoped to get. And my ego was telling me, what's the point? What a waste of
mm,
time. Why don't you go to LinkedIn? So I took some of my original YouTube content and created it as a native LinkedIn video, which means you don't have to, when you go to LinkedIn and you click on the video, you don't have to go somewhere. It's right
right.
there in you. And that worked for me. And then that's how the clients discovered me. So it was YouTube first. And then LinkedIn Live came second. And so January 2020, I made a little wish and I put a video on. I really did. It was a video on LinkedIn on 1st of Jan 2020. And I just published it and I said, so many people have these huge New Year resolutions. Why don't we do one thing? Why don't we go with micro goals and just start with something small and do that one goal for 365 days of the year? Can you do it? I said, I'm challenging you. My challenge is I want to see if I can help one person every day, no matter what it looks like. You're driving, they want to cut in front of you because they're running late. Let them chill, just relax. And like, I don't know, 2 weeks later, I get LinkedIn Live. So is that the universe listening? I don't know. I don't know if people will say complete trash or, I don't believe in that. I kind of do because it's so interesting. I got it 2 weeks later. I had applied 3 times. Every time I got rejected. So why did it get accepted that time? I don't know. And ever since I've got it, I've just been on this like like I'm gonna make the most of it. This is such an honor to reach so many amazing people. The caliber of people on LinkedIn compared to a lot of other platforms, let's not let's not kid ourselves, it's very different. So it's so
Yep.
nice. Yeah, and I went live every day. I've been live every day for 80, not every day, every Friday
Every
for
week.
80 weeks. And it's great fun. You have some great weeks, you have not so great weeks. It bothers you sometimes, you're human. But that's the way it's been, and I've always wanted to have a podcast. So I mean, people might be like, oh no, it's actually not that big a deal. Live streaming, you show up, yes, you prepare a little bit with your guest or you're alone, but if you enjoy it, you don't think of it as work.
No,
Right?
no.
I'm on holiday, I'm going to be going live on Friday, I'm not missing my streak, and I want to show up to for anyone who needs help. Get a microphone, get a webcam, get a laptop in 2021. Not so complicated, right? I don't need a
Yep.
crew.
Yep.
And then the podcast came later, so that was October 2020. And yeah, it's been 8 months of podcasting, and I love that as well. I think you can probably tell, Jillian, I love talking to people. Like, I love listening to their stories. So podcasting and live streaming, if anybody listening is enjoying that, something like a podcast or just going live, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube, it doesn't have to be LinkedIn. If you don't have it already, that's not an excuse. But that's such a great way if you're a genuinely curious person since you were a kid. But why, mama? Or why? I like, just start a podcast, because people love talking about themselves, and by asking them again and again some sort of questions which they love, you're just giving them this access and this excuse and this opportunity to just go, and you're like, okay, how is this helping my audience? My audience is job seekers. Oh, this is really helpful. Oh, this was great tips. So it's been an interesting journey, YouTube, LinkedIn Live, podcasting.
Ah, that's amazing. That's amazing. And I love your story, and I love that you're like 80 weeks. That's a long time. That's not like, cuz it's like I think that's the problem, is that so many people, they say I tried it. I did a YouTube channel. I know so many people that started a YouTube channel and they said YouTube did nothing for me, but they posted 3 videos.
No,
It's like,
I was one of those people. I posted like maybe 10 or 12 videos, and I was like, it's not doing anything for me. Um, I remember one of the things I love about having a podcast is the conversations, and I take notes with people, and even live streaming, like even when you were there, and when Jeff Young was there. So I'm like, I don't know if others are paying attention. I'm paying attention, like every word. And I remember I had John Esperian, I think it was like
mm,
episode 25 or something. It was still quite new, and he talked about his mentor, and he
was that
said,
Mark Schaefer? Was that Mark Schaefer?
it was
Okay.
it was the name was escaping me, thank you. And he said something along the lines of, according to lots and lots of research, when it comes to showing up till you blow up, it's about
Mm.
30 months of consistency, like proper consistency. And I remember listening to him, and I had like goosebumps, because YouTube, while I said I gave up on it, I still would post like, these forgotten videos, like abandoned. Nobody wants them. I'll just put them there. But when I started live streaming, the good thing about StreamYard, the platform we're on, is they let you stream to multiple platforms. And I was also live streaming. So I was live streaming on YouTube at the same time, but I wasn't doing anything with it. I wasn't feeding particularly. And it was March 2021 when he and I were talking, and my first YouTube video was September 2018. So you don't have to be a math wizard to realize it was exactly 30 months. So if you are not yet there, you don't have the stomach for it, don't do it, because it's a long, lonely, depressing road.
Yep. Yep. But I figure we're sitting on this planet anyways. You might as well just, roll up your sleeves, do the work, just keep doing stuff. And I know even myself with YouTube, I started with YouTube and I always laugh because it was like a mistake. I was just using it as a video housing library. And one
Yeah.
day I accidentally had one of my videos go public. And all of a sudden, and I
Ooh.
thought my sister was watching them because I was making little how-tos for her. And then all of a sudden it was just like it had like 10,000 views or something crazy. And I went, boy,
Awesome.
she really likes this video. And it was because I had made it public by accident. And I
Huh.
went, wow. And then I did a Google search and that video was like number one for it was like a bookmarking app or something like that. And it was just like, oh my gosh. So it just makes you realize that it's slow and consistent. And I had that YouTube channel for years, but I never made any videos public. So, and I think Khan Academy, which is like this great place for like kids and learning, they kind of had a similar story of he just made them for
Yeah.
his like nieces and nephews or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. 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 No,
So
that's I love that episode of Khan Academy with how I built this. So sometimes the best things can just start without intention.
exactly. And I think if you're coming from a position of I want to help people, then there's someone out there that needs the help because I
Yeah.
always feel we're not, I really believe in all this woo woo crazy stuff, but I really believe we are not given an intention, an idea to do something if it's not needed in the world. So if you have an idea of, I just want to teach people how to knit and you just start a YouTube channel or you just start doing something about knitting and I turn my knitting into a business, somewhere out there, somebody's sitting there going, I wonder how I could make a business out of knitting. It's like, and you somehow find each other. So it's so wonderful. It's so
Yeah.
wonderful. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. So with your YouTube live, sorry. So you are using StreamYard to now go to YouTube and to LinkedIn at the same time, and then you're using that, which I think that's an awesome part of StreamYard that you can do that.
It
I love
is. It
that.
is. It's also live streaming on Facebook at the same time. But my Facebook live streamed videos perform the worst. That's okay. Yeah. With the click of a button, StreamYard is great. Yeah, makes it easy. It's
Super.
perfect for tech phobes.
Agreed, agreed. And I love that you can, like you said, you go away on vacation, you take your microphone with you. It's like it folds up. And I agree with you. We are better off to have good sound than actually good video.
It's a
Like
good point. Anyone who's listening and thinking, "Oh gosh, that sounds like such a hassle," I remember the last time I was on vacation was Feb 2020, and I had been live streaming 6 weeks, and I didn't want to stop. I
mm,
didn't understand. I didn't know anything about microphones at the time, and this is only like 1 year ago. So I had my webcam volume. I thought that was fine. Webcam audio and webcam video. Uh, you learn. I think buying a
a good white.
230 euro microphone is something that only occurred to me later, and only after I realized, okay, I can afford it right now. But it's not to be used as a crutch for not
Mm,
starting sooner, because I don't have the nice webcam, or because my webcam for the longest time in 2020 was a 26 euro cheapest basic Logitech, which worked as a, because it had noise cancellation as well. So it wasn't bad. Like the only thing I couldn't do was I couldn't zoom out.
mm.
So I was always very close to the screen. So I decided, okay, just put the laptop a little far away. Big deal. And it was only like in after 1 year of live streaming when I heard a guest of mine. And I was like, why are they sounding so amazing? Like, why do I sound like I'm underwater? Then I realized she uses an external microphone. Hello, you would think this is like this is so simple, but you learn as you go along.
Exactly. And I always tell people, just use your earbuds. Like, you can just get, if you don't have anything and you don't want to invest in a fancy mic or, all that sort of stuff, just get earbuds. That's fine.
Yeah.
Like less than 20 bucks, as long as they have a mic, put them to your computer, use them on your phone, whatever. It's not a big deal. So again, I agree with you. don't let money be a barrier. And like even with StreamYard, there's a free version of StreamYard. So even if you
I
decided to
used the
go,
stream free version for like a good 3 months until I couldn't stand the sight of that duck. But otherwise, it works perfectly well.
I love the duck. I love
Quite,
the duck.
quite
But
huge.
the thing that got me to buy StreamYard was I wanted the recordings. So I just saw that being a video person, I knew I would want to repurpose those recordings and use them other places. And I also wanted to do the co-streaming, and you can't do that on the free plan. So
Yeah.
that to me was the thing. I was not a duck hater. So, okay, so we've got a couple more questions come in. So, okay, so let's see what we got. We've got, okay, so yep, okay. 4 channels.
No, I'll tell you what, Jeff. It comes down to saying no to many things. I heard you say Clubhouse, Jillian. I moderate one room. That's it, a week, and it's something like roughly an hour a week. And I
Mm,
don't really do anything unless it's a friend who's moderating another room, and I'd go in 5 minutes to support her or him. But I've never been a let's hop, like bar hopping. I can't hop from one room to the other. It's about
no.
saying no to a lot.
Yep. And the recommendation usually is do one channel, really own it
Do
before
it well.
moving on to another, because it's very
Yeah.
hard to ride multiple horses. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, and that's where repurposing content comes in really good. So it's like everything I do for LinkedIn, I turn around and take natively and I put to YouTube.
I
So
think that that's very smart. And I think that you need to have that, what is the word? Complementary platform alongside your main one. My main one continues to be LinkedIn. And the
mhm,
reason I'm investing a lot of time, and I've even hired a YouTube coach actually, because I realized when it started picking up, I'm not doing anything to feed that audience properly. And I
mm,
switch strategy. Like it's like, oh, spaghetti on the wall type of thing. Um, but I'm glad I'm doing that, because one platform only is all your eggs in one basket, and it can just change like that. And LinkedIn and I have been having these little married couple fights for almost like 8 9 months now. Yeah, it'll be like a great post and it'll completely tank it, and it'll
mm,
be a post which took me 2 minutes to create, it'll go crazy viral. I'm like, I don't get it. So I can't depend on LinkedIn alone.
agreed. Agreed. Congrats on 80. Yeah, really. That is about consistency and showing up, and you've just got to do the work. You've got to do the work. And I always tell people there's no Disneyland fast pass. We can't just say,
Mm.
oh, I'm going to do a LinkedIn live and why don't I have thousands of views on the second show? Because you don't.
No,
It's
no.
just that's just how it goes. Okay, that's the real key. You do pay attention and you make it about your guest. And yeah, he was a fabulous guest on your show. You
Yeah,
did
so
it.
were you. You both were. You both were. I swear. One of my favorite episodes is having the two of you there.
That's true. That's true. So another great comment from Jeff. And what's Ike? What's that mean?
Ikigai is the Japanese, when what you do and what you love, and what you're good at, and there is demand
Oh,
for
like
it. People
those
will pay
three,
for
like a Venn
the
diagram,
Venn diagram where they inter where they meet,
intersect.
intersect. That's what he's talking about.
Cool. So, okay. We've talked about LinkedIn Live. We've talked about podcasts. We've talked about YouTube. Here is the biggest thing about stepping into the spotlight. How do you get over the nerves? Because whenever you step into the spotlight, there is a tendency for us to pass, and just say, this pushes me out of my comfort zone, because it does, as
Yeah,
much as we talk about the tech, what microphone, do you have a ring light, and, StreamYard or Restream or whatever. But at the end of the day, when you click that go live button, you're stepping into the spotlight, and it can be a little scary
of
for
course,
folks.
of
So
course.
I don't think you're superhuman. You're just the same as the rest of us. So how do you kind of handle that bit?
That's a great question, and short answer, Jillian, it's taken me 10 years. Massive confidence issues. I had massive confidence issues, and people are like, oh, you'll never believe it. Don't believe everything you see. People have their own journey, everything they go through. So And one of the things I do, and I know you do this as well, Gillian, is help people with shortcuts. Yes, you
Mm,
can't take the fast pass, but you've made some mistakes along the way, and then help people with shortcuts so they don't have to go through 10 years as well, right? As far as possible. So I think that um, my biggest issue was lack of confidence because I'd been through some challenges at work, had been laid off, and
mm,
I didn't necessarily feel I belonged in many places, including business school where I went as a 29-year-old with a newborn baby, and I was like, what am I doing here, surrounded by all
mm,
these super interesting, intelligent people from like McKinsey and all these fancy places, and so it builds up. It's never one thing. It A lot of things build up like snowball. And so
mm.
the lack of confidence, and then my other problem, which I recognize now but I didn't recognize it back then, was the constant comparison game, where I was like looking at other people in the career space and they're doing so well. The world does not need another career coach.
Mm.
And you know LinkedIn would come up with these recognitions, top voice and all of that. And I was like, "Pfft, what am I doing here? Like, I don't even belong. You just keep showing up. You keep showing up. Nobody notices." So that's the ego telling you, just stay back, go in your comfort zone. You don't have. So it's a big deal to put all of that to the side. And I think my thing was, when I made that little video on 1st of Jan 2020, I was making it for myself. If it
Mm.
got traction, that's great, but it wasn't the intention. And my intention was, okay, the spotlight has always been one viewer, not an audience, one person in some country somewhere in the world, and they're going through what I've been through. I've, layoff, job loss, following your spouse to a different city or a different country, you don't speak the local language, all of the challenges, confidence issues, you're professional but you haven't worked in all these years because you have a gap in your career, all of that stuff. I was like, okay, that's my ideal persona, that's the person I want to talk to. I don't really care if they buy from me or not. I just want to show up and give them my best.
Mm.
And the, the spotlight from day one was never ever in question that it has to be on me. I, in fact, till today feel very uncomfortable. So getting compliments on air with the guest, I'm so like, thank you so much, and I turn it back to them in like half a second. It's just, I don't want to bask in that glory. I just find it extremely uncomfortable. So when the spotlight is on the person you want to help and it's not about you, then anything you do, others, you don't care what they think as much. So
Mm.
in the past, like reading your post yesterday when you were introducing our live stream, it would have made me cringe so bad. Um, but I'm like, listen, it's not bragging if it's true.
Yep.
It ain't bragging if it's true.
That's
So
awesome.
when you take that spotlight, and whether you're a job seeker and you're like, how can I help the company's in the spotlight, or how can I help another job seeker with what they're going through, or a fellow business owner, and they're having difficulties with client acquisition and they happen to be my target people I want to help, put the spotlight on them, never about you. So it's just, everybody has their own style. Gillian, this has been my style. I'm not huge on talking about myself or my personal life or my family. Just not my, so it's all about like, okay, it's work, it's career, yes, but a little bit of humor. I can't have plain black and white. It has to be a little bit of spice and salt in it. And you'll find people who resonate and you'll find people who just hate it. That's fine. It's taken me so many years to realize, to repel the wrong kind of people is a good thing. Don't
Yep.
worry, and attract the right type of people. So as opposed to seeing every rejection as a bad thing. So it's a journey. Everyone's on it. I'm on it, and it's never over.
Awesome. Awesome. And, and it's so true that it's like we just kind of we're hesitant to kind of step into that spotlight. But I always just kind of feel somewhere somebody's counting on me to come out, and you just go, I must have this idea for a reason. So I'm just going to show up, and if I repel everyone, okay, that's all right. But at least I know I'm doing my best. And I've actually experienced once at my synagogue way back years ago, and I was actually at a synagogue where we didn't have a rabbi. We had lay leaders, so we all had to take turn leading the services. And one day, one person showed up for our service, and it was just like I went, do I give an entire, service to one person? And I just went, you betcha. And I'm going to do the best possible. And that to me is like, when you step into the spotlight, just go for it with all your nerves, turn your nerves into, I still get nerves. I got nervous today. I get nervous all the time because you're just like, anything could happen, whatever. And you just go, okay, we'll handle it. It's okay. It's okay. We can do it
Exactly.
no
And
matter what.
people say it gets easier the more you do it. I don't think it gets easier. I think you get stronger.
Mm.
I
Yep.
heard somebody say this on a podcast. It doesn't get easier ever. You get stronger. And nobody said it's easy. For example, when you talked about that one dude in the synagogue, I remember it was March or April last year, and I didn't. The app doesn't always tell you how many people are watching live, and it's not always accurate. So for some reason, somebody was watching me, and it said one person watching, and I went on and on. I was doing something. One guy showed up, very rude comment, and he's like, oh, I feel so bad for you, you have one person watching. I just wanted to drop in and say, hey, it's a little boring, like your topic is on conflicts with your boss, like I'm reading all this live, and it broke my heart, and it's not supposed to be easy. And I remember even having a little argument at home with my husband. He was like, stop doing this is a waste of your time, you're doing this a lot, like you're spending a lot of time on it, there's no ROI. I'm like, ego telling you it's about you, it's about you. I'm like, okay, you will have these little buffoons every now and then. And I've had so many like inappropriate comments, or just oops, how do I unsub last week somebody, Jillian, on YouTube, and I lucky by mistake I showed it, because when you're live, you're like, and it was like, comments keep coming, the comments keep, how do I unsubscribe from this thing? I'm like, just close the window, like how hard? So people are stupid sometimes, but they're not your people. So just thinking about them and saying I'm not going to go live because of people like them is so idiotic, but we've done it. Like we've all given in to that. But when you keep going in, you just become more resilient.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And I remember Seth Godin. I love a lot of his books. Seth Godin, he's an excellent marketer, and he does
Yes.
fabulous books. And
Yes.
he actually admits he doesn't read the reviews on Amazon's anymore because it makes him sick to his stomach. So you just go, how could you be that famous, in your space, known for so many different things? But it's like, we're human beings. We don't like negative reviews. We just
No.
don't.
I don't believe anyone who says that this doesn't, negative stuff doesn't bother me. I'm like, I don't agree. I think it bothers you. You just don't want to admit it. We're human. Come on.
Exactly. That's awesome. Well, it's about 30 minutes, so we'll wrap up here. And so I think this was just a really great sort of mini overview of stepping into the spotlight. We talked about podcasts, YouTube, LinkedIn Live, videos, anything that you can do to kind of be known in your space. And I think the message is, number one, it's not an overnight thing. You have to be consistent, roll up your sleeves, do the work. And then I think the other thing is, don't think that it needs to be easy. Just no, you have to work hard at it, and you'll get better. And that's the good thing, is that over time, you'll get better at everything that you're doing. And you just go in the beginning, okay, it's not going to be great, but you'll improve. And that's the bonus, right?
100%.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you for being here today, and we'll talk soon. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much, Jillian.